The government and major corporations do not care about what your skin color is, who you like to sleep with, or what's hanging between your legs. Instead, they like to use these things to emotionally manipulate low IQ people in order for them to do their bidding while they try to garner more control over the everyday person's normal life. Here is an example of what Canada is trying to do in order to take control of you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors.
Canadian Justice Minister defends house arrest power for people feared to commit a hate crime in future. This guy's a real piece of work. So we've got Justice Minister Arif Virani has defended a new power in the online harms bill to impose house arrest on someone who is feared to commit a hate crime in the future, even if they haven't already done so. Automatically starting off with thought police. They are the ones who will predict your behavior according to whatever algorithms or whatever they have created that they think that they have the right to put you under house arrest for doing nothing. The person could be made to wear an electronic tag if the Attorney General requests it or ordered by a judge to remain at home, the bill says. Mr. Virani, who is Attorney General as well as Justice Minister. I don't know how the Canada stuff works, but I don't get how you get to be two things at once. That seems like a conflict of interest, maybe. I don't know. So this guy said it's important that any peace bond be calibrated carefully, saying it would have to meet a high threshold to apply. Okay. But he said the new power, which would require the Attorney General's approval as well as a judge's, could prove very, very important. Because if the government doesn't like what you're saying, they will do everything they can to just shut you up. So it's going to be very important to restrain the behavior of someone with a track record of hateful behavior who may be targeting certain people or groups. But they're already saying if you haven't done anything. Right? So they're just talking about your speech. If they think you're being hateful in your speech, look, they're not worried about you hating on your fellow man. They're not worried about you hating people who have different opinions on you or anything. No, they're worried about you hating on the government. And they disguise it as being an ist or a phobe of some sort. Because it doesn't take much to be accused of that anymore these days, right? If there's a genuine fear of an escalation, then an individual or group could come forward and seek a peace bond against them to prevent them from doing certain things. So if you just scare an individual or a group of people, they can come forward and just report you. This sounds familiar. The peace bond could have conditions that include not being close to a synagogue or a mosque, he said. It could also lead to restrictions on internet usage and behavior. So wait. Okay, lead to restrictions on internet usage. So we're not going to let you use YouTube. We're not going to let you use Twitter. We're not going to let you use Facebook. We're not going to let you use anything outside of what the government has already ordained acceptable, aka their propaganda. So that would help to de-radicalize people who are learning things online and acting out and de-radicalize people who are learning things online that you cannot be learning things online. I remember, now I'm one of the few people that thought this. Well, okay, not one of the few people, but for the longest time, and I still to this day, I see the internet as a tool strictly for learning new things. I taught myself how to do what I do in my career using the internet. So acting out, so people who are learning online things online and acting out in the real world violently, sometimes fatally. But what does that have to, why does he even mention that? Because he says that this could happen to you even if you haven't even done anything. Mr. Virani said the bill would strike a balance though, and would mean that content that is awful but lawful would remain online. Heard that one before. Thanks, Elon. There's a lot of bad stuff out there, but this is not about the bad stuff. This is a much higher level, he said. Could you describe it? Could you give us like an example? Because you're full of shit. So Bill C-63 is designed to curb the proliferation of online hate, but also establish a new hate crime offense, which could carry a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. So the hate crime thing. Okay, one, daily reminder, no such thing as hate crime or hate speech. All crimes are derived of hate. Mr. Virani said the hate crime offense would only be applied if coupled with another crime, and the life sentence would only apply in the most serious of cases, not, for example, for mischief to a garage door. There must be some story behind that. I do know that they're looking at applying a fine of up to $70,000 for online hate speech. This is purely totalitarian. This is completely communistic in nature. I would love to hear your thoughts below. I looked at this. Let's see if my tab will pull up here. So I looked into this. Come on, load. There hasn't been a vote on this or anything yet. It's just been through the first reading. There's no second reading. I don't know much about the Canadian system or anything, but there hasn't been a vote. There's no vote set. There's no date set to vote on it or anything like that. So I hope for the sake of Canada that this does not get through and this has brought up enough attention. I hope that they are able to squash any future bills, because we all know the bill gets a lot of noise and then they end up making another bill and just sliding a lot of other stuff, secretly and quietly. So let me know what you think below. If you're from Canada, let me know how it's going. Let me know if you have any concerns. I would love to know more about this process. And you can find me on Twitter at I am Static 2020. That's I am Static 2020, not just Static 2020. Anyhow, follow me there. Hit me up. Let me know how things are going in Canada. I hope the best for you guys. I think this is terrible, and yes, I'm an American citizen, but you know what? Canada's not far away from here, and it's not like we don't influence each other now, is it? Until next time, have a good one.